Ah, were you guided here by kindly Mikola? I am Leda. And like you, I was guided by faith along his honorable path. Touch the withered arm, and you too will be transported to the realm of shadow where Mikola the Kind now dwells. My compatriots are there already. Like us, they have heard kindly Mikola's call. If you can find them, they are certain to lend you aid.
Welcome to Between the Joysticks.
Press start and then we're off. Nick and John, they've got the sauce. Breaking news and some hot takes, even if there's some mistakes. Nick is captaining the ship, while John gives thoughts straight from the hip. But when their powers combine, we're all in for a hell of a time. Between the Joysticks, it's the best. Up to 6 things they will address. Tell all your friends and settle in.
Between the Joysticks now begins. Between the Joysticks.
Hello there, and welcome to episode 101 of the video game podcast, Between the Joysticks. Unfortunately, the podcast is not high enough level to do the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. That is a huge bummer, but we'll move on. But who am I? I'm the host of this show, Nick, and I'm joined by my co-host, John. Now, John, we're starting round 2 of the podcast again.
Yeah, I'm pissed off. I've already made jokes. I've already made fun of you for not being a From Software player. But here we are again, doing it all over again. But that's okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, we recorded the first half hour of this show, and then I noticed something was odd in our recording. Went to go check on it, and it's borked. So here we are again.
So everybody listening, send us each $500 so we can buy new equipment, and then we'll be fine.
Oh, we'll survive.
Yeah,
we'll survive. We talked briefly about Furiosa. You know, I went and saw it in theaters, but what it made me think about was the Mad Max video game.
Yeah, I know. Nick's over here talking like he's going to go play a 2015 open world, like a mid-tier
I
open world
was just
game.
Considering it. You know, you see some of these movies and you're like, oh, I can go play the game based on the property, but
yeah,
it's not going to happen.
Yeah, but if you watched Fury Road and then didn't go, I should go play this game. Like, you know what?
I think I started it and it was just like it just didn't do anything for me.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
generic open world.
Yeah, Mad Max is a tough one because it's meant to be empty, but you don't want empty because that doesn't make for good games. And and it had all the car combat and stuff. It was a pretty robust system in there. I didn't dig it, and there's better things to play.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with current video games, but as I had mentioned, the bad guy from that video game makes an appearance in the movie itself, the Furiosa movie. So I guess the video game's canon now.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it has to be. I mean, let's be real though. The canon of Mad Max, not a big deal.
No. It's forgettable. It's like Doom.
Scabrous Scrotus.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I was like, who's this guy?
Man. They have fun in that world, don't they?
Yeah, with the names and
Scrotus.
The absurd vehicles that make no practical sense for how precious fuel is.
Yeah.
But we love it.
Yeah.
All right, John. So let's get into how the show works. John and I both bring up the 3 things to talk about. It can be a video game we're playing. It can be a news item. It can be a topic. It can be an email to betweenthejoysticks@gmail.com. We're going to read one of those later today. It can be a Twitter DM @joystickspod. Thank you, Jesse, for congratulating us on 100 episodes. He tweeted us there.
Kisses.
And then finally, it can be a comment on our YouTube page @betweenthejoysticks. Any of those things, we can bring it and talk about it. And today we have 5 things to talk about. So let's get into it. Once again, John, the big thing, Elden Ring.
That's right.
Shadow of the Erdtree.
We're back. 2.5 years later, we're back. Yes. So the most anticipated DLC that I can recall in a long, long time finally came out. And as Nick mentioned, I have unfortunately not gotten my grubby little hands on it yet, but I'm right there. I don't know if I've told this story on the podcast, but I'll tell it again real quick. Platinumed the game about a year ago, New Game Plus to get a couple cleanup trophies, and then didn't think about it until a week ago and was like, hey, well, I'm going to go into Moog, and then loaded into the game realizing I'm at the very beginning, and kind of had a little moment where I go, what do I do? Decided that, let's just go run through this fucker again, and I've been having a ton of fun. overpowered as hell. I'm level 182, just basically beating every single boss I come across the first time. It's very much not an Elden Ring experience, but it's a lot of fun regardless. And so just had
one-shotting everything.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to get to, for those who don't know, I'm pretty sure everybody listening does know, but you got to get past Moog, which is a late game boss, to be able to access the DLC area. So that's where I'm beelining towards. And, I've had the guide up to my side of like, these are the mandatory bosses you have to beat in order. And so I've just been kind of going through them one at a time. I beat Malekith last night, so anybody who's familiar with the boss order knows that's, I think I can probably go straight up to Moog tonight. So hopefully I can get there. But that brings us to why we're talking about Elden Ring today. Shadow of the Erdtree, sitting at a healthy 94 on OpenCritic.
Yeah.
So, not a shocker, which is kind of a very silly thing to say, isn't it? Like, I'm not surprised at 94. That's expected. But, the base game got a 95. So anybody who's played FromSoft DLC in the past, I think kind of knows that they're just continuations of the base game with added on awesome new boss designs, new weapon abilities, new ways. Easier. Yeah, okay. a lot of times they'll put the hardest boss in these DLCs. And if you actually want to go have a funny read, go read Eurogamer's review of this game, where the reviewer gave it a 3 out of 5, and she simply just could not beat the final boss, which I thought was kind of funny and a little suspect. But so haven't got my hands on it yet. I'm very, very excited to do it. But, there's also a little different thread to pull at with this game right now, Nick, which is it's not all sunshine and rainbows. There's a certain website, a certain game launcher on PC that has some mixed, quote-unquote, feelings about it. What do you think?
Yeah, interesting enough, there's 2 issues with the game, apparently, according to the Steam reviews. And the first one is hilarious because it's the difficulty of the game.
What?
I mean, isn't that the whole point of a From Software game?
Yeah.
Or were people expecting just to steamroll their way through it?
I've seen them started to pop back up, and I remember how insufferable they were when the game got released. Of the articles of like, should FromSoft include a difficulty modifier? It's like, and then the director has to come out every time and be like, no, it would break the game. That's not how these work. Which is
okay. It's funny. We didn't talk about this in our first recording, but since you brought that up, sometimes I think when games are successful, people the developers take the wrong lessons of why that game was successful. The most famous one is the Dead Rising franchise.
Sure.
Though that's a zombie apocalypse game, but one of the weird things about it was that it had a time limit. Everything happened within a time limit, and if you wanted like a perfect run, you were like, it was very time sensitive because you had a 3-day limit to get out of there, and you had to do all these things within that time limit to successfully get out of there. And to me, it was the worst part of that game.
Yeah.
It's like,
no, let me level up my
let
awesome
me have
weapons
fun and
kill
let me have fun and just kill zombies. And they kept bringing it back, probably thinking, well, it was one of the reasons why this franchise was successful. And so bringing this to Elden Ring, like Elden Ring, or not just Elden Ring, but Soulsborne games, all their games that are similar in this formula, are they taking the wrong lesson? Is the difficulty what makes these games good?
It's a great question. I would argue that it is as important of enough piece to the games that if you remove it, it loses a lot of it. The number one feeling, not in any FromSoft game, I've said this before, in any video game I've ever played, is the satisfaction that comes with finally beating a boss or a difficult enemy and getting to continue to progress. Now, I weirdly think I have kind of a relevant example as I'm going through it right now, having a very easy time.
Yep.
And like I said, it's still fun. But it definitely loses a lot of what makes the whole experience special. And so I think if you remove the difficulty, it opens it up for certain players. But and maybe this is me being a FromSoft stan, but like it does remove the special sauce of that franchise.
Yeah, and I didn't play the games, but I do think like difficulty's fine, whatever. But I do think it sounds like the game needs to be more balanced. It sounds like everyone's always gravitates to the same builds, the Mimic, Terror Summon, being the big one. Like everyone runs that fucking thing.
Yeah.
Which, if you're listening, that's just it's like a copy. You can summon in the game, and they're the monsters you typically can summon. But the Mimic there just summons you at your current level. So there's two of you.
Yeah.
So there's a souped up version of you drawing aggro, and on top of you being there. And everyone goes to that build because especially the late game difficulty, just you can't win without it.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that, but I don't know. I just think like there's so many different things they've put into the game. Like there's hundreds and hundreds of weapons. There's hundreds of different types of Ashes of War and things that you can do that are there and viable ways to play. Are they the easiest ways to play? No. But I think people naturally just, go towards what makes it easy, makes that line acceptable for me. Yeah, if you want to beat Dark Souls on a banana, you can. Like people have done it, or on a Guitar Hero controller, you can do it. But like, that's maybe where the difficulty curve does come into the From Software games. It's like I rocked the Moonveil Katana build, which is pretty fucking OP. Like I'm not gonna lie, I can keep him at a range. I could get through this game. I know the enemy patterns well enough. If you give me just a basic sword and some shit, I'm not gonna enjoy myself as much though. So it's allowing the player to find that and tailor that experience. I think to fit the game that they want to play. But I actually had this thought last night playing it. I pick up so many things in Elden Ring that I don't use, right? Whether it's arrows or special darts or special concoctions or this or that, or this is specific sleep stuff. And it's like, no, give me my horse, my sword, my shield, and my magic, and I'm good. And you can get rid of everything else. So I can honestly, because I keep thinking about you playing through this game because I'm gonna get you. And you would have an issue with the amount of things that are just not useful to you.
Yeah.
You would, but
I'd be like most people, just give me a build and I'll just follow.
And that's I did eventually employ that method, and I know. I think it could be balanced better, but at the same time, it's just like there's so much in there that.
We've talked about this before because I remember we got to the point of thinking like the weapons themselves are kind of like the difficulty, right? Like if you want an easier time, run Moonveil Katana with the Mimic there, and the game's easier for you. And if you're looking for more of a challenge, there's other weapons and builds that are much harder to use, and that could be setting the game to a extreme nightmare mode for you if you try to beat the game with those weapons.
Friend of the show, Nick, always talks about different Souls streamers, and they're doing crazy mods where like every enemy's millennia. It's like, what are you doing? But that person's probably also getting revenue from Twitter. But I digress. So the first issue difficulty, right? So what's the second issue?
Oh, the second is the performance issue, and again, John and I haven't played it, so we can't really speak to that. So this is secondhand knowledge, but it has some frame rate issues that it didn't have in the base game in this mode. And I know that the system requirements changed for this, so I've noticed a lot of people saying if you turn off this like RTX or this ray tracing option, that the game runs just as well as before. So it might just be a setting that they turned on, and everyone's not looking to change it because they think their settings are okay. But when you play a game like this where precision timing is everything, frame rate issues can be very frustrating, or any kind of performance hiccups. It's a very valid complaint, and I'm sure From Software is going to be doing everything they can to fix it as soon as possible. And you can't have a good experience in a boss fight with these games if you're missing frames. It's just you're going to get frustrated, and I think that is what I've heard as well. It's a lot of boss fights, a lot of big enemies, a lot of probably flying particles and things moving around pushing the system. But I would imagine they're going to get it fixed. And would just. Steam is just a thumbs up or a thumbs down, right? Correct. Yeah. Okay. For user reviews. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that maybe makes sense where the mixed is coming from, because I just want to make sure that if you're going on there and you're saying this game sucks, it doesn't run at a flawless 120, it's like grow up a little bit. But like if you are kind of just sending a message to FromSoft, be like, hey man, like. I paid $1,200 for my fucking graphics card. I'm playing on PC because I care about the experience more than anything. Like, I get it. That's your best way to give them some information. But, I want to make sure, I don't like it when people just go, this game is a 0 out of 10.
It's 4 days old.
It's 4 days old, and, like, do not discredit everything else that's in the game and say this game's trash because it's not flawless 120. It's like they'll get it there. But
knee-jerk internet reactions.
Yeah, but there can't be a big game release without a little bit of drama. There's always going to be a group of people somewhere that are upset about
any
it.
game release.
And don't get me wrong, that is a valid complaint if the issues are there, but they'll fix it. And I can't wait to play it. And yeah, rest assured, Jesse, Mark, I know, hopefully you guys were tuning in to hear my thoughts on it. If not, I guess fuck me, but that's fine. And, I'll get there eventually.
That's fine.
No, yeah, of course.
It just came out. Like,
of course it's fine.
What impressions would you have had anyway? It's really hard.
Oh, From Software is really good.
I'm getting my shit kicked in, and I've only played a couple bosses, For
sure. But yeah, it's just 94 Open Critic, proof yet again that FromSoft is, in my opinion, top tier. I'm not going to say they proclaim them the best in the world. You got the Super Giants, the Rockstars. They all do different things. Rockstar can produce a level of a game that nobody else can. Super Giant's going to kill in the indie space, but for what From Software does when it comes to action RPGs with solid combat, you guys are perfect. Love it.
Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. It is now the highest reviewed.
Put it in my mouth.
It is the highest reviewed DLC ever now, dethroning Witcher 3's Blood and Wine. How unfortunate. Much better game.
Your favorite game? Arguably my favorite game here.
But, it takes a well-reviewed game to release in a ridiculous expansion to get there, and they did it. Kudos to them.
Yeah, Witcher, Cyberpunk. So CD Projekt and FromSoft. Those guys.
Yeah, who else is really releasing $40 expansions? That's not like an MMO.
Rockstar could if they wanted to.
Well, we haven't talked about it because we're not Destiny players, but the Destiny, the Final Shape is another one that is
killing it.
Is close. It's just a few points below these ones.
Yeah, 92.
So
the same as Blood and Wine, actually.
But yeah, it's
Didn't disappoint. Didn't think it was going to, but definitely didn't disappoint. And
I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Curious that obviously the $40 price tag is definitely a beefy expansion, but we'll see.
Yeah,
according to reviewers, it's worth it. So
yeah, I'll give them my money. They'll pump it back into something else.
Yeah. All right, let's briefly move on to a game that I've been playing. I keep saying I'm taking a break from video games, but that never happens. Because I'm always.
I got that indie bug worming its way in your ear.
It really is. I believe. Before the weekend, I asked John, I'm looking for an indie game. I don't want to get into anything big, but something that I could maybe play and complete this weekend would be great. And he recommended Signalis. And this is a game that came out October 27th, 2022. This is from indie developer Rose Engine, which is just 2 people. It is currently sitting at an 82 on OpenCritic, and the story is you're a scout shuttle that crashes down on a planet. You play as Elster, which is a replica, an android character that wakes up in this crash ship, and of course has to find. She's looking for a specific crew member, and she goes into a base where a bunch of horrific things are happening. And what this game can be best described is Resident Evil meets Silent Hill meets Metal Gear in a PS1 looking interface.
Did you hear that, Will?
So if those 3 things interest you and the PlayStation 1 look, that retro feel, I definitely recommend checking it out. And the Resident Evil part is it plays like a Resident Evil game. You have inventory space. You don't have tank controls, but you do definitely have some weird shooting mechanics. If you have your
angles, right? And
lots of angles, which is similar to Metal Gear as well. A lot of key cards, so many key cards.
I remember I played this for about 2 hours, or maybe an hour, and I think I got 6. I was I don't know what these are doing, and I don't care anymore.
A laughable amount of key cards. And similar puzzles like Resident Evil, like adjusting water flows and circuit boards and stuff like that. The Silent Hill part is with the enemies, which are very Silent Hill-like. They move awkwardly. They're very a lot of body horror, a lot of blood and flesh. And then finally the Metal Gear part, along with the shooting mechanics, is it uses frequencies a lot. So you use frequencies not only to defeat enemies, but a lot of puzzles require you to go into your radio, set it to a certain frequency, and this will, reveal safe codes to you and other things of that nature. And a lot of the puzzles revolve around that. And it's not a long game. It took me 5 hours to complete. I was able to platinum it in those 5 hours, so got my 39th platinum.
Nice.
And it's it's interesting. It kept me enthralled throughout, but it does have some issues.
Yeah.
One, the story is batshit insane. Imagine, I don't know if you were familiar with older French films in which they kind of show like a confusing imagery and then a black screen with just words on it, and then back to the confusing imagery. That is throughout this game entirely. It has this anime aesthetic, but it flashes between German, English, and Japanese, and you're like, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
even after I read the Wikipedia page, because it does deal with like loops and stuff like that, and so you find multiple versions of yourself, and it gets very confusing. The story is just nonsensical but interesting. You're always wondering what's going on, but I don't think the conclusion is as satisfying as it should be. And then the controls themselves, you have to get to a door and highlight it and hit X to go through it, and same with picking up items. And it is so finicky, and in a survival horror game, and I'll lead with maybe this was their intention, because the tank controls of Resident Evil kind of added to that survival horror element, because you're not able to control the situation as well as you want, so you find yourself in situations where you're surrounded by guys. Yeah. It's frustrating when you're trying to pick up an item around enemies, or trying to just exit the room, and you cannot highlight the door for the life of you to hit X to get through it.
Yeah, that's some frustrating video game shit.
Yeah. And then also, this game is divided up by sections, very similar to Resident Evil, right? You get through the mansion, then usually you're in a laboratory or a mine, and this has that similar progression. The second area has no map at all. You can't use a map, so it's all by memory.
No. Respect my time.
Well. Yeah. But again, it's not a very long game, and then those controls I also translate to frustrating boss fights as well, because you're stuck in a room with something you got to kill, and I think the final boss has 6 phases.
Oh,
yeah. So that's no fun with weird controls. So, but I did get through it. I did like it. I'm not as high on the 8 out of 10 that it's kind of hovering over. I'm more of a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. Okay.
But yeah, it's just watch a trailer, and if it looks up your alley, but you will not play anything like it. That's for sure.
Yeah, interesting thing about Rose Engine. Did you know that it's 2 women?
No.
It's interesting. I mean, it's like, this industry is dominated by men.
Right.
And I can't think of another studio that's, just two women, or even like a couple women, or one woman. Like it's nothing, and we live in a political climate. I'm not saying any of that, but just like, it is interesting, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, there's not,
it's cool.
You don't, all the big single developers that we know, like individual developers or smaller teams, are all male. So
yeah, who's the Jade Raymond? That's probably the only
studio lead for
Amy
sure.
Hennig.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to think of big female players in the industry.
Yeah, that are like a face.
That's why it's nice when you kind of see it, and it's cool.
Yeah, so it is exactly what John was like. Here's this game, and it's like, yeah, wow, I beat it in 2 nights, and yeah.
I got you, boo. I got you.
You got me. Yeah, you got
you.
me. So
sometimes when you want to listen to me.
That's true. That's true. Sorry, no Elden Ring. But yeah, that's been there, done that, over with.
Cool.
Which is kind of nice in this climate of gigantic 80-hour JRPGs or open world games.
As I'm trying to just play through a game I've platinum just to get to a part to be able to play another part of the game. Stupid.
Yeah, the game that's already 100 hours that added another 30 to 40 hours expansion.
Yep.
All right, let's move on. I'm going to give a shout out to Kinda Funny for this one, because they did their E3 awards, and I was like, oh, that's a fun idea. So we're not going to let Not-E3 die just yet. John and I are going to give out some awards to all the games we saw. We talked about them about all the games we found interesting or the musings we found interesting throughout the conferences. But let's talk about, which games really, really showed well over all others. So the first award, who won E3, John? This is kind of a old school topic. Sony, Nintendo, and E3 or Microsoft all kind of directly competed with each other. I mean, they all had showcases the same week. That no longer happens, but all three did have showcases, within weeks of each other, from Sony's State of Play all the way to the Nintendo Direct. Who won E3, John?
Well, I would have thought it was a shut and close case, on June 7th or whatever the day after the Xbox show was, right? They killed it. Didn't think Nintendo would have had anything to really show.
No, yeah, without showing the Switch 2.
But after their Direct and showing Zelda and Mario, I was like, you guys really fucking came out too. Unfortunately for them, Xbox still won E3. Yeah. They still did. They put together a showcase that the internet, some people claim, is an all-time showcase. I don't quite think it was that level, but you cannot deny the amount of games shown, the amount of high-quality anticipated games shown, the level of gameplay that was in a lot of these. I still think they get a D/F for the amount of release dates. I get it. This is a climate. We don't live in the climate that we did 5 years ago where you're getting dates way out in advance. I think Cyberpunk and just other misses really scared developers, and they just want to play it closer to the vest now. So you can't really fault them for that because you didn't see dates from, really PlayStation or anywhere else either. But they came with, you got a Doom, you got a Perfect Dark, you got the next Fable game, you got a new Gears game. I mean, they really put all they had into it, and they needed to with the past couple of months that they've been having on a dreadful 2024 up to that point. So got to give a shout out, got to give it to them. There really is no other choice, honestly. I think.
No. Like you didn't think Nintendo even had a chance, but they definitely had a great show. 3 games filling out this fall, month after month after month, all with release dates, and just games you weren't expecting to see at all. And so Nintendo did put up a fight, but yeah, you can't deny Microsoft's showcase. All the games they showed, all the games showed with gameplay.
Thinking about it's funny, Nintendo put out a new Zelda, a new Mario, and a new Metroid, and we're sitting here going Xbox.
Yeah, and they were close, like if that Metroid Prime trailer maybe was a little better, maybe that would have done
and
better.
Like Mario and Luigi, it looks charming as shit, but it's not a main thing.
Right. And then Sony, Astrobot was amazing, but I think, as you said 2 weeks ago or a week ago, that they needed something else.
Just one more. They just needed one more.
They needed Concord to show a lot better, and they could have at least. I don't think they would have been on Microsoft's level because they showed 30 games to Sony's 14, but it would have helped. But yeah, I'm with you, Microsoft, clear-cut winner.
Yep.
All right, our next award is From Zero to Hype Award. So this is a game that was announced before E3, not E3, E3, and after not E3, E3, we're like, holy! Now this game is on my radar. Like I was either like skeptical or sketchy or not that into it, and now here I am, really excited. I guess I'll start things off.
Yeah.
With Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. Was that on your list?
No, I only have one game.
Oh.
Yeah, no, that's a good one, though. I mean, if I was more into the Metal Gear franchise, yes. But, it's just like a...
Did I not explain this? Because I was going to bring 3 for everyone and then pick my winner.
You did.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I just,
Okay, good. Yeah, again, Konami is without Kojima. Is who are they? And this game, with the brief teases we've gotten up until the Xbox showcase, were not great. You were very skeptical, but it seems like the game's coming along very well. It looks good. Hearing David Hayter's voice and hearing the voice work again, I'm more confident of this project than ever, and it is now on my radar for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was a project that went from be careful of this one to like, holy shit, they're probably gonna pull it off.
Yeah, when you look at Silent Hill 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, do you want me to go through my all 3 then, and then?
Yeah, go through your 3.
The other one is South of Midnight, a game from Compulsion Games that, stylistically looked good last year.
I want to add that one. I forgot that was announced before.
Stylistically looked good last year, but, it showed again this year. It showed what the game is going to play like. It looks to play like Kenna Bridge of Spirits, a game that I enjoyed very much so. And between the animation, which is something out of the Spider-Verse, this half step like claymation looking animation, to an amazing southern soundtrack that really catches the bayou, the New Orleans vibe. Just I'm pulling for Compulsion Games, who with We Happy Few and their other game not reviewing as well, but this could be it. This could be the game.
Yeah, I mean, if this studio has a chance, they need this one to hit, and it looks like they're doing everything they can. Looks great. I'm all about it.
And then my third choice is Dragon Age: The Veilguard, which it had another name, so it has been announced before. It was Dragon Age: The Dreadwolf, but up until this Not-E3 E3 season, all we got were developer videos, kind of showing off like oh, we're working on it. We're doing stuff for it, and and again, in a game, can BioWare even remotely capture the magic of Mass Effect and Dragon Age? And while the initial trailer was like, okay, new art style, new vibe, that's okay, but it was between the gameplay trailer and then all the impressions that came out that said, romances are there, your backstory is a big thing, character creators robust, and while we haven't seen those things ourselves, they all sound magnificent. And then this game's coming this year.
Sure.
Like, hype.
All right. My one game that I added is a game that, while I was interested in it, I was probably not going to even give it a second thought because knockoff Soulsborns just usually aren't my thing. But I think Black Myth Wukong looks fucking dope. Like, this game has been shown off a lot. It's been, I don't know, even though it was first announced at this point, I want to say 2020. It's been in development for a long, long time. And having a Souls game that is showcasing the Chinese mythology as opposed to a lot of Japanese stuff that we get is interesting in and of itself. You get a cool Monkey Man character that looks to have a lot more fast-paced gameplay than we're used to seeing in the combat from FromSoft. And with the awesome enemy designs, that is honestly one of the biggest draws in From Software games for me. One of the biggest things that about knockoff Souls, and that sounds derogatory saying, but not, you know what I'm saying when I say knockoff, just not From Software Soulsborne games, is that you can really feel the lack of enemy design. And even if you look at Dark Souls 2, which is often regarded as the black sheep of the Souls series, that was the one that Miyazaki didn't direct. So there's something special about his, I think, attention to the character design. But it seems like this one has a large amount of weird, there's like a big Buddha-looking baby that you fight at one point, and lots of animals, big bears and things like that I think lean heavy into Chinese mythology. But, this is coming from Game Science, which, I don't think they have anything that I can point to that they've done in the past, but that also can honestly work in their favor a little bit in this regard because, when I think of, I don't know the team off the top of my head that made The Surge or Lords of the Fallen. It's just like, if those teams make another one, it's probably just another it's probably not going to happen. It's just not going to do it. So, seeing if Game Science can put it together and kind of have another Neo-esque, Lies of P-esque type of game that can maybe start another franchise in this genre would be pretty dope. And yeah, like I said, just animations, graphics, it looks really, really good.
Yeah, and it's coming so soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is you're giving it to that?
Yes.
All right. I'm giving it to Dragon Age: The Veilguard.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's coming this year, and they're saying all the right things.
But that combat gets you excited?
As we said, the combat is the very early portions of the game, similar to what I talked about with Stellar Blade, which the demo was the early moments of the game. I just don't think we're getting the good look at it. Okay. But visually it looks great. And
you're willing to give BioWare the benefit of the doubt.
I am at this moment.
Okay.
Leaving Not-E3 E3, yes.
Okay, good. No, I mean it showed better than I thought it was going to.
Okay.
But can they land the fine things that elevate a property to?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and just the expectations on that studio.
Yeah. If this one misses, is BioWare done, or do they just have the longest leash?
With Electronic Arts, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
They got a Mass Effect game apparently in development.
Oh yeah. Also, maybe they're not done if that's
Yeah,
happening.
we'll see.
So, we'll see. All right. Our next category is biggest indie game. John, go ahead and lead things off.
All right, so I only have 2 for this one because I tried again, Nick. I couldn't.
You're fine.
I couldn't really find any. But first one that pops in my head, Mio Memories in Orbit from, I hate this developer's name, Douze de Gemmes.
This is the boondoggle, so
Yeah.
I feel you.
We talked about it last week on the show. The Metroidvania, gorgeous painted look type game with a character that has like hair tentacles that allow him to move around or something like that. But it's just, not a lot to go off, not a lot of information. There's no date for it yet or anything like that. But gorgeous art style, genre of a game that I very much like. The movement looked more along the lines of an Ori or something that's going to be smooth, quick, bouncing off walls, things like that, which is my preferred type of game in this genre. I am going to have a very close eye on this one going forward, and hopefully it continues to impress, and I'll want to play it the day it comes out. But as of right now, this is right up my alley.
Yeah, another, in that Nintendo Direct, this was a highlight for sure. All right, I got an interesting one that we didn't talk about at all over the last few weeks, and it's called Unbeatable. This was shown at the PC Gaming Show, which I did not watch. This is coming from D-Cell, and it's coming next year. This is a anime-inspired beat 'em up rhythm game in which music is outlawed, and so you have a band that's trying to play music and fighting along the way. The trailer doesn't show very much.
Anime Footloose?
Yeah, basically Anime Footloose. I suggest you check out the trailer, but it looks interesting. The music sounds great, and it has a style to it that I appreciate. So maybe it'll be something to talk about next year when it comes out.
Cool. My second pick is the closer from Jeff Keighley's Summer Games Fest, and that was Phantom Blade Zero coming from S Game. So talking a lot about Soulsborne knockoffs, I guess, during this episode. But this is just another one that we've known about for a little bit. Phantom Blade is apparently it's an established franchise, but I don't believe S Game has really released much.
On mobile.
Yeah, it's a mobile thing. So this is kind of them trying, to come into the console space and put together a solid game. And again, just based on what I saw, it looks like a top tier version of this genre. It's just always going to come down to how it feels. But, the fact that Keighley felt confident enough to put it as his closer, says that at least the team and development and publishers behind it have a lot of faith in it. They're pushing it, which, of course, a company is going to want to sell their product, right? That's what they do. But, I do think you can kind of trust a little bit of what the industry and insiders are kind of thinking when they put these things together. And so while the Summer Games Fest itself was a very lackluster show, I mean, still putting that at the end says something. And so, and it is, developed and published by S Game. So I think this qualifies as indie. If it doesn't, please forgive me. But I think this could be another one that's, I appreciate how dark it looks. I'm a dark and dreary man myself, and so digging a lot of what that has. But yeah, how's it feel? Don't know.
Yeah. It's great to see it again. Again, that was the highlight of the Sony showcase last year. It was worthy enough to close out a show.
We are worthy.
I know you weren't super excited about Summer Game Fest, but at least that was one highlight to talk about.
Yeah.
All right, my last game is Mixtape, shown at the Xbox Showcase from Beethoven and Dinosaur, the makers of The Artful Escape. Again, we talked about it before, so I won't say too much, but it looks like games is art. How you play it, I don't know, and I'm sure it's going to be a 2 to 4 hour experience. Yeah. But it looks amazing. I'm sure it's going to be a fun story, and you won't know where it's going to take you. I mean, they ride a Brontosaurus at the end of that.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of teenagers
Got to give those
living out their
kiddos the
angst.
summer that they'll remember.
Yep.
So they grow up to be cynical pieces of shit like us and forget all the relationships that they forged with people in the past.
Yeah,
That's what happens.
Yeah, and just an overall just great video game trailer, hands down. It catches your eye. So.
All right. Well, my award goes to Mio Memories in Orbit.
Okay.
It's just a me thing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a me thing.
No, it's
I
fine.
looked at it
It's all
I know.
taste.
Yep. Looked at it immediately. Go, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, and mine is mixtape. That's easily one of my more anticipated games of next year. So
Cool.
excited. All right, our next topic is the biggest surprise. So this is something coming out of nowhere. This is a game not previously announced before the show, and I think you're going first this time, or did I go first? I'm confused because.
I'll go first.
Okay, go first.
I'm just going to take the easy one. 2D Zelda Echoes of Wisdom.
That's a boondoggle.
Yeah, holy crap. Holy crap. I mean, it talked about it on the show. I love 2D Zelda. I love top-down stuff. I have kind of lamented the idea, in fact, that big budget Zelda is always 3D and crazy huge, and similar to Super Mario Wonder coming out and showing that 2D Mario can still be a very viable, awesome place to play Mario. It's we're kind of seeing that, I think, here in incorporating a lot of what made the Tears of the Kingdom special, with just the ability to manipulate your environments and things. Like they are wizards over there. I would not have thought they had one in development, and I would have not have thought it was coming out this year. So Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, I think everybody can admit that was a pretty big surprise.
Yeah, and that's why I have it on my list as well. It's the creative direction that one's going. Just again, they're taking Zelda to the next level, and it seems to be around this complete puzzles, how you want to complete them. Yeah, and that sounds fun. It looks fun.
When you're the only developer in the world that's cracked that code, because I don't know if they're just I don't know. I wonder if there's other developers who just know a hell of a lot more about how games are made that are just like, tell us what you're fucking doing. What are you program are you using? What code is this? This craziness. It's got to be nuts.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. like what was that whatever that move was in Tears of the Kingdom, where you just rise up and you can go through the whole map and
crazy
pop out anywhere. Yeah,
and then you got to have designers that can design the world so that this can't break everything.
Right.
It's
Right.
really impressive. So yeah.
All right, this might be another boondoggle, but of course I got to put Astrobot on here.
Boondoggle.
From Team Asobi, of course, shown at the State of Play. It ended it. We got 3 minutes of just pure joy as a sequel to Astro's Playroom is coming later this year in September. And wow, you got to play it. You just got to play it. 150 cameos.
Yep, I've seen different posts about like people be like, oh, I didn't know I could play Astrobot on my thing already. Like, dude,
Oh my god,
what are you, dude? So yeah, hopefully this is. It's really nice to see Sony embrace the family/child aspect again with their first party, right?
Yeah, that seems to be their strategy this fall.
It really is, which I'm all for. We've gotten so many dad simulators and dark, dreary Last of Us stories, and I'm excited to see Astrobot shepherd his little Astro baby around. Maybe that'll happen in this one, but
yeah.
No,
you do carry a dog on your back for a little bit.
Yes, it's kind of Astro dad simulator. I don't know. No, but yeah, that's absolutely on my list. Absolutely, such a nice surprise.
Perfect.
All right, and then my third game. Expedition 33. We got triple boondoggle.
Yeah, triple boondoggle.
Triple boondoggle. Yeah, we have a good eye for things, Nick. But yeah, I mean, probably overall the most surprising part of this E3 season, right? Like, if I see a new Zelda, I know it's going to be awesome. I know it's going to be great. If I see a new Astrobot, yeah. But like to see a triple A level turn-based crazy, I don't know, fantasy world type thing. It's just something you don't see nowadays. When you see turn-based JRPG type or turn-based RPG games, it's usually pixel based or sprite based or 2D or something like that. And so to see something with big cool monsters, a cool story with like this witch thing that's like painting your age, and if your age is painted, you just disappear. Cool initial premise. Like there's a lot of things that this game could do right. Will they stick the landing? Not sure. They got a tall order ahead of them to put together something that's going to keep us all interested for a long, long time. But I think this one that came out. I haven't heard anybody say anything bad about the way this game looked. I think people are pretty high on it all around, and so this one's coming to PlayStation, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So yeah, coming to PlayStation as well. So really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, from Unknown Sandhill Interactive. Who are they?
Ex somebody's.
Yeah. All right, so that's the 3, John. What is taking the award for you?
Biggest surprise. I gotta give it to Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. I knew we all knew an Astrobot game was gonna come. We all knew that was gonna happen. There was rumors of it, so like that immediately kind of disqualifies it from the award. Expedition 33 looked amazing. A lot of hype there, but I don't know if that one's going to land. And I know that Zelda's going to be amazing. It's going to land. It's got a date. Didn't expect him to be making one. Surprised all around.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah. There's no wrong answers here with these 3 games, but I'm going to go with Expedition 33.
Sure.
Again, unknown developer, unknown property, just out of nowhere, just a simple trailer that kind of just keeps ramping things up, and by the very end, you're like, wow,
we're there.
That's something. That's doing a lot of things we don't see in a lot of other games. So that's my biggest surprise. All right, so now we're going to flip the scale. We're going to go to the biggest disappointment of the show. And my first thing is no Xbox handheld.
Oh, good one.
This has been rumored. We thought that Xbox, with their push for gaming everywhere, would bring maybe not a hardware equivalent to the Steam Deck, but maybe some kind of cloud streaming device. Maybe it was just going to be, maybe it is still, we don't know, a PlayStation Portal equivalent. But new hardware is always exciting, and they did show new hardware, but it was just the same hardware, but digital and bigger hard drive. So that wasn't exciting. But a new handheld from Microsoft would have been just interesting tech.
Yeah.
For them to get into this space, but.
And I still think that's going to happen. Like, it just makes too much sense. Based on the direction they're heading. So, but yeah, if they're not going to do it here, they don't typically have things throughout the year.
So
really.
Maybe next year.
Yeah. Or they just make a post about it. I don't know. But for my first disappointment, this goes for everyone except for Nintendo. Nintendo, you get a pass. But the lack of release dates, I think, continues to be a disappointment that people are going to have to just get continuously used to. We live in a different landscape. Games take too long. They're too valuable. There's too many secrets. There's too many hands in the pot. There's too many things that can go wrong. So I think you will continue to see it play out this way, but as somebody who grew up with the E3s of yore and the way it used to be done, it removes a little bit of the pop that you get from some of these shows, and to see like Expedition 33, to know when you're going to play it, or to see Concord and be like, hey, can I at least know when is this going to fill out the calendar for Sony? And it's just disappointing that we're kind of here, but
Concord did get a release date.
Oh, it did?
Yeah,
I don't even
it's
know.
August.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, it's
That's so much of my
I think
brain.
It's the Black Myth Wukong date.
Oh, well, that's how much that my brain that game's occupying. But it's just you see.
But there are other games.
You see Doom, you see all these games you're excited for, and we just get a lot of windows now, a lot of
August
years.
23rd.
Okay, a lot of windows, a lot of years, a lot of nebulous time frames, but not a lot of dates nowadays. But or even I think of a game. That I'm personally looking forward to for 2 separate reasons. One, because I want to play it, but 2, it's in my fantasy league. But Mina the Hollower, Yacht Club Games put a 3-minute video together, highly produced. There's a theme to it, all this stuff. Of like this game that was dated for December of last year. You put this video out, and then you just go, yeah, it's still coming. It's like, okay, I don't know. I don't know. Just
Yeah.
maybe I don't because I don't want what's happening with Hollow Knight to happen with other things where it's like you kind of just don't communicate, and it's like, but where is it? But also, like, if you're going to communicate, I don't know. It just seems like it's just frustrating, and
it's funny.
And I'm disappointed.
Next year is going to be worse because there's a nuclear bomb
yeah,
ready to be dropped anywhere next fall that's going to disrupt the whole gaming industry in Grand Theft Auto 6, and nobody will want to be near that.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're indie, AAA, you will not touch. You don't even want to be within a month of that thing.
yeah. I'm sure video game developers around the world are just being like, can you guys please just tell us the date as soon as you possibly can? Because like it'd be hilarious if they're like, we're not going to tell you, and then like September comes along and Sony's just like, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's wild, but I agree. Yeah, we're in a different world now. So, all right. My next disappointment is Summer Game Fest misses. Of all the showcases, this was the longest one, and Jeff Keighley, he's usually pretty hit or miss, and it sucks that this was a miss year for him, especially with all the other conferences kind of firing off, at least with a couple games to be excited for. There was just not a lot to get excited for here, and a lot of the games are just forgettable.
Well, and after we saw the Xbox and the Nintendo show, it kind of makes sense, I guess.
Right.
When it's like, hey, we have a banger thing together. We're not gonna. I don't care how much money you throw at us. We're gonna keep it for our thing.
Right.
So that compounds into it. A lot of little things, right? Like where it's like the article came out about how much money people have to pay to go into Games Fest, like right before it happened. Him sandbagging his own show, being like, it's like an 8 out of 10, guys.
Right.
It's like, all right,
Right.
So yeah, it was not his best. I'm not gonna say his best effort, but the cards did not fall the way he was hoping. I think they would.
Yeah. And like I said, that happens. You have to work with what these publishers are willing to, these developers and publishers are willing to give you. So he just was like, it is what it is.
Yep.
I'm going to curb this.
Yeah, there's we could be looking a year and a half from now and there's like 490s in that show. We don't know, but
True.
All right, for my second one, I kind of referenced it a little bit here, and this is the lowest hanging fruit of this whole thing, but Hollow Knight Silk Song continues to not show up. It's a running gag on this show. Nick bid for this game in our video game league 4 years ago. I don't know,
Last 3 years.
Something stupid. And again, just tell us. Just please communicate. We know you're a team of 3 dudes. I can't imagine trying to build something from scratch, let alone the expectations that come with a critical darling like Hollow Knight. But, enough's enough. You got to at least tell us what's going on.
It's weird
Did
that
you
they
restart development? What happened?
It's weird that they just don't get ahead of like this Not-E3 season of just going, hey, we're not at any of these showcases, but we're working on the game. Stay tuned for updates. We'll definitely give you them when we have them. But it's like, they showed up in an Xbox showcase. So now the Xbox showcase is like, is Hollow Knight going to be there? And then a Nintendo Direct is famous for having big indies in it, Neon White and Hades and all that. And it's not there either.
Well, and fuel to the flame for the Xbox thing is like it was in the famous showcase where like everything you're going to see is coming out within the next year. And now we're like 8 months past that. So
way longer than that.
Yeah, so there's all these little lead-ins that it's just like, what's going on, guys? And I'm personally in the camp. I know not a lot of people are, a lot of knee-jerkers out there, but like if you came out and you said, hey, guys, Hollow Knight Silk Song, it's dated for 2027. We restarted development. Unity fucked us.
Yep.
We're sorry. We promise it's going to be the best of our efforts. Like, I would take that so much more than just like
Right.
every single 6 months going like,
Right.
So kind of disappointing. Let it cook. I'll
Yeah,
play it when
yeah.
it's ready.
Again, no, everyone will forgive him when it comes
Oh
out.
yeah.
So
yeah. But it's it's like I feel like with CD Projekt Red, right, when they had the nuclear bomb that was Cyberpunk, it's like you guys really should have just had the bad PR cycle of, hey, we're pushing the last gen console release for a year out. We'll let you know. Sorry,
right.
but hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah.
Hey, was that what you were gonna say?
Yep. All right. My final disappointment is Sony not bringing it. They're
Boondoggle.
they're selling the most consoles. They're they got the games, that the other consoles do not, but not this year. Astrobot is good, but what is the future for Sony? How many times do we have to be a broken record to say what is Sony been, Blue Point, Naughty Dog,
Housemark,
Sucker Punch? What are you are the prestige of video game development. You make great games, even Sony Santa Monica. I know God of War Valhalla just came out, but what's
Media
next?
Molecule? they still exist.
Right,
There's
right.
lots of stuff going
on,
or should be.
And I know again, as same with the Summer Game Fest. Some years they just it finally caught up to Sony, but it would be nice for them to even sniff, what Microsoft is doing, what Nintendo continues to do, and just have a blowout showcase, and a nice, good, solid hour of good first party and third party games, and get us excited for the console beyond Astrobot and Horizon Adventures this fall.
Do you remember that when they showed off the very first selection of PS5 games when the PS5 got announced back in 2020 or whatever it was, Ratchet and Clank and Spider-Man? It was just oh my god, this is so good.
Right.
Or I don't think it was Spider. It might have been Miles Morales. But yeah, I have Sony continues to seem snooty. That's it's people who have been playing video games for a long time kind of recognize, I think, that Sony is a very two-faced company where if they are on top of the world like they were in the PS2 generation, they get cocky, they get overconfident, they start maybe taking the wrong lessons away, and then they start to kind of recede back a little bit. And I feel like we're maybe in that type of era, right? The $599 PS3 era, right? Or hey, we're going to do assault architectures. Maybe that's a bad idea, guys. And and then they had to claw their way back to get to the PS4 levels and dominated again that industry. Xbox continuously seems like they're on the back foot. Sony probably feels absolutely invincible right now, but they need to do a better job communicating. And it's possible that this lack of communication, maybe that was a Jim Ryan directive. It seems like that all kind of started when he took over and Sean Layden left. Unfortunately, that was also kind of around the COVID times, and so there was so much upheaval that you can't really pinpoint things on. So, maybe with Hiroki Totoki coming in, or Nishino and Herman Holst, Totoki being the guy that was, maybe that changes a little bit. I don't know, but it's you nailed it. I'm tired of having. Maybe we'll see what Sucker Punch has. It's maybe we will,
right?
Or maybe we'll just get more second party or third party exclusive deals, and then that's what it is because they don't want to pay how much it costs to develop The Last of Us Part 3 now. I mean, of course they're going to be making that, but you know my point.
They're not having a weak year by any means.
No.
I mean, they have multiple games. Yeah, Silent Hill 2, Horizon Adventures, Astrobot, Concord, but it's just
in an incredible first half. I don't think people are talking enough about their first. Helldivers 2 doing what it did, Final Fantasy Rebirth being exclusive, Stellar Blade being they had an amazing first half. So it does feel like you're kind of sucker punching somebody when you talk. Do you see that? Do you see that pun?
Yeah.
When you talk like this, because it's Sony, you're my best friend. I love you. Keep making my great games, but get your shit together.
Right. Get it. Yeah, let's get excited about the console going forward. And again, we predicted PS5 Pro. Maybe the blowout is closer to that. Maybe they've always had last 2 years they've had a state of play in September alongside Nintendo.
But that's that sentence right there. I think we need a showcase. We've gotten past that point where it's state of plays are cool. You can show cool things there, but we need a showcase.
Right.
Sorry.
So, and they need an hour or more. They need the equivalent of Xbox, and I think they can do it. It's just
they absolutely can. But do they have a company directive that's we're not going to announce games further out than X time, and we're not going to give dates further out. And so it's just this dumb little drip feed cadence that's just going to continue going, where it's you'll get one. Maybe two. They were hoping for two with this state of play, hoping Concord hit. It didn't, but they got one huge one with Astrobot. If you just do 2 or 3 state of plays every year, with the expectation that you have 2 or 3 first party releases every year, I mean that fills it in.
Yeah,
it's dumb.
It's just getting old.
I know. Yeah, getting super old.
All right, so that is my winner, of course. I only own a PlayStation 5, so Sony not bringing it continues to disappoint me.
Yeah, it's mine too. I mean, as much as I want to play Silksong, I do understand the trials and tribulations of a 3-man team making something like that. And so I can't really be too disappointed in them as much as I want to play it. Release dates is more just me being me. And Sony, get it together.
All right, so now we're on our final award here. It's, of course, the big one. It's the game of the show. What game impressed us the most?
So I'm going to go through my 3, and then you should do your 3.
Okay, go ahead.
Because 2 of the 3 we've talked about extensively. So Astrobot, Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom.
Those are both boondoggles.
And Doom Eternal. Those are my 3.
Well, not Doom Eternal.
Yeah. No, I know.
Doom the Dark Ages.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Doom the Dark Ages. Sorry, I wrote Doom Eternal. Yeah, Doom the Dark
We
Ages.
have the exact same 3.
Do we?
Yeah, so we talked about the 2. Let's,
Yeah.
do we really need to talk about Doom? But
I mean, we talked about it last week. It's just like it's evolving the formula that they've made with this new age Doom of just fast with different types of moves that give you ammo, health, whatever. It seems like there's a parry mechanic in there, a shield with a chainsaw. You're flying a dragon and shooting lasers down a bigger dragon's throat. Like, it's exactly what you want with Doom. And id, in my opinion, is probably Microsoft's most talented developer all around. They just know exactly how to shoot. I would say Playground's up there too, with the Forza team, but they know every time. If I could give a shooting responsibility to a team, if I'm building the perfect team, right? Naughty Dog's doing my narrative. Guerrilla's doing my graphical fidelity. I'm giving shooting to id. And I don't even like shooting. So it takes a franchise and a game series that I really, really love, putting them in a cool world with like that dark, gloomy, gray, Dark Ages shit, and it's going to be great.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, an amazing premise of just you're a weapon of the gods and kings of that era. You're just entrance from coming down on that space station. Chainsaw shield. Got me there. The scene where he gets in a giant mech and is fighting, and then ending it on you're riding a dragon. Like, that's the gameplay variance I think the franchise really needed to elevate. Especially the last 2 games are obviously very well received, but I think this will elevate it to another.
It needs to keep it fresh.
Another
though. If
level.
you did another Doom Eternal, Doom Eternal was great, but by the end of it, I was like, okay, this feels.
Yeah.
It's starting to get stale a little bit. Did you notice in that trailer that one gun that was shaving a skull?
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
shoot ammo. I was like, that's fucking cool.
Yes.
Those guys are so good at just, hey, what do men want to see? It's like, yeah, I do.
Yeah, all the gun the shield animation of him pulling the chain and then it's spinning, and then that gun
Rip
that
and
used the skull to
it is done.
grind and shoot widespread bullets. Yeah, just
Very curious how the music's going to turn out. No Mick Gordon.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be fine, but will we be able to tell? Probably.
probably.
Yeah.
He's a one of a kind composers, but so there you go. Those are our 3.
All right.
What did you go with, John? Did you go with Doom?
We're going to say our winner on the count of 3. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
1, 2, 3.
Astrobot.
All right. Good. Yep. Astrobot.
Yeah, I mean, again, it brought a very poor showcase to maybe competing. Like we talked about on the show. I said, yeah, John, the showcase was like a 6 out of 10, but one game was a 10 out of 10, and that was Astrobot because we knew going into it that we were going to see it. Same with Doom as well, but just being blown away, and
It was just a smiling for 3 straight minutes.
Yeah.
The trailer was a very, very fun trailer. We've joked that they showed too much, but that gives me confidence that they have so much to show. We've known that now there's 80 different levels. It's going to be awesome, and I mean, and it's not a new franchise, but this feels like This feels like if Astro's Playroom was like the beta version and the VR thing was like an offshoot. This is its welcoming party, and so
it's putting
giving
the
it the
stamp
love
down.
that
This is a new Sony franchise.
Yeah, and they're putting all the love into it. Just the cameos. If you're a fan of this franchise, like Nick and I are, that've been around for a long time, it's going to be holy shit. Like you and I coming into work, it's going to be annoying. Like just talking about this game, especially because you'll be like, yeah, I beat it, and I'll be like, I'm on level 4. But yeah, I gotta give it to Astrobot. That was a perfect showing for that game.
Yeah, great soundtrack throughout the trailer. Great overall vibe. Great, just the gameplay snippets that you got. They kept you thirsting for more. And yeah, we're not far from that game either. So it's
2.5 months.
Yeah,
this is the benefit of the release date not coming out thing, where it's like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, that's true. This is the flip side, right? We were getting mad about no release dates, and then we get release dates and be like, oh, I'm playing that in 2 months. It's like, sweet.
It's not bad.
So, all right. Whew, we got through that. So let's move on to an email we received. Again, you can write in at betweenthejoysticks@gmail.com if you want us to read your email on the show. And here it is. So this is a lengthy one, so buckle up. All right. Hey, Nick and John. Per John's request, I wanted to share some quick thoughts of the Metal Gear Solid Delta trailer and information that we have learned in the past couple of weeks. I've been following the series since 2001 when my babysitter gave me a cracked PS1 and a booklet of burned games, which included Metal Gear Solid.
Those kind of burned. Sorry.
Yeah, they're just
it's just a pile of ashes.
Just rubble. Which included Metal Gear Solid, and I've been hooked on Kojima weirdness ever since. I'm with you. MGS1, man, that hooked me.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a burned booklet of games. Afraid you did it. That was a big thing with Dreamcast too. I remember I had a friend that had all the Dreamcast games, but they were burned.
Yeah, and that whole era, dude. I remember I had a friend who had a Xbox that was modded, where you could just I don't think he had the burn thing, but he had like some module on it that had everything. I was like, I didn't know that was a thing. And he would go and rent games from Blockbuster and then like load it onto that thing. It was fucking too much for me at the time.
You're just blowing my mind, man. I'm just little John. I don't know.
Do you have Crash Team Racing?
All right. Continuing on. When the Metal Gear Master Collection came out last year, I burned through MGS and my personal favorite, MGS2 Sons of Liberty. But when it came to play MGS3, I strangely found it to be the most difficult to play after all these years. Weird. So I couldn't be happier to see how well this remake seems to have been treated so far. We know the game will allow us to experience the game with new camera, controls, and color palette, but also give us the options to play with the original fixed camera, PIS filter, and controls are any combination of both old and new, which is an amazing flexibility. The audio is being remixed from the original masters in both stereo and surround, and new lines will be recorded for the platform-specific tutorials with the classic cast. I didn't know that.
Very nice.
New dialogue is great. It seems that Konami fully appreciates the responsibility they bear in remaking this game and wants to assure players that Kojima's original vision remains intact. I think that's partly why they chose to start with MGS3, is when they remake the others in the future, they will likely have more substantial changes, and they would like to build some goodwill with the fan base first. So far, the response from the Metal Gear community concerning the remake has shifted dramatically since the release of that trailer, and I couldn't agree more. Sadly, I am also a Silent Hill kid, and I only wish Konami treated the Silent Hill remake with the same reverence they seem to be treating Metal Gear with. Sorry for the long email, but you asked.
Yep, I did.
Also, John, if you return Jedi Survivor, I did pre-order both the US and UK collector's editions of Delta, so I'll have an extra copy for you to play on release date. Well, why did you do that? Is there different things in each collector's edition?
I don't know.
Because I don't see why else would you do that.
Did you look it up?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I guess it didn't register with me why he would do that. I didn't think about it when I initially looked it over. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts on this game when it's released.
You're never getting Jedi Survivor back. I'm holding it hostage. No, I just need to see you, buddy. Don't worry. I got it for you.
I know you're not too familiar with the franchise, but do you think it's weird they're going with MGS3 first?
So
MGS1 is such a smaller game. It would not be the same breadth of a project.
Yeah. Because
MGS3 is definitely, I almost believe it's the longest one of them until 5.
Yeah, I could see that. I think that it has something to do with the timeline, right? It's the first one chronologically.
Yes.
So that's a large, I think, tally in that camp. But I think Will's onto something with the idea that it can be more of a one-to-one remake and allow them to establish, much like how the Resident Evil remakes established kind of a look, a feel, and all that stuff. They can establish it with this one, and then when they go and remake one into that style, people will be a little bit more receptive to that if they started with it and they'll go, this isn't my Metal Gear where there's a baseline now. That would be my guess. So I think they'll go 3-1. Well, I don't know where 5, because isn't 5 second chronologically?
Yes. Uh-huh.
So they're not going to do that. I think they do 3.
Well, probably 3, 1, and 2.
3, 1, 2, 4. But yeah, to your point, Metal Gear 1 would be a very short experience.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I think they can pad it
kind
out.
of beat as Metal Gear Solid 1 is the shortest at 11 hours.
Oh, that's more than I thought.
Followed by Metal Gear Solid 2 is Sons of Liberty at 13 hours. Metal Gear Solid 3, it's Snake Eater at 16 hours. So I don't know, they're all comparable. Metal Gear Solid 4, 18 hours.
One's longer than I thought. So I think you just do them all. I mean, and Metal Gear Solid 1 has one of the best, it's one of the most well-respected games of all time. So if it comes out and it's like 7 hours, but it's really well done, Dead Space got away with it. I think that was only like 10, 11 hours.
Yeah.
So you can do it, but yeah, I agree, Will. This like I said, this game was in a concerned place based on what we've seen from Silent Hill 2, Konami not really being in the video game space like they were in the past, them having their tizzy with Kojima, like do they even care about this franchise anymore? And it seems like the answer to all that is positive and what we want it to be. I still want to see some gameplay, but I will probably take you up on that offer, Will, to borrow Delta, because I have very few gaps in my gaming history, but if there's one that doesn't sit as well as any other, it's that I don't. It's probably Mass Effect and Metal Gear. Those are the two that I go, is it me? What's wrong with me? And in fairness, I really liked 2. I really liked 4. I probably am the only person in the world who's only beaten 2 and 4, and that's it. But 3 would be a good place to hopefully find something there that causes me to want to go through and maybe figure out who those darn Lolly Lulelo are or something, Him, Kojima and his weirdness. I will not defend Death Stranding, though. That's a bridge too far.
So they are different. So the UK is a different collector's edition than the
You
US.
freak. Will, you freak.
So that's
but no,
that's interesting.
Will's my buddy with this stuff, man. Like, not only do Will and I share the video game connection, and that one's a new one because he's a not a relapsed gamer.
Yeah, he's just gotten into it.
Yeah, like he
recently.
cut it out entirely for a long, long time, and then just all of a sudden he's like, "Hey, Chapel, I bought a PS4." I'm like, "No shit." And we bonded over that. But movies were his thing. He's probably the guy that got me into weird movies, right? Like I remember going to his house when we were 16, which think that for a second. Like we were 16. It's not like we're 35-year-old men who have, old souls now. He had like, as a 16-year-old, like a couple hundred movies and like weird shit, right? And like he got into movie making. He's got IMDb credits. He's a cool dude. So I don't remember I'm just trying to sit here to be like, Will, I still like you. You're still my friend. But yeah, I'll get you that Jedi Survivor back. We should probably set aside some time to play some games or something at some point anyway, or watch a weird movie. He's one of my how I told you about my weird movie watching club? Yeah, he's in there.
Yeah.
So he definitely knows what you're talking about when you mention French movies.
Okay.
And black interstitials.
But yeah, like we just mentioned the last segment is this just who thought Konami could do this, and if they stick to landing, it's a good sign.
Now, does this one have it? This one is just next year. This is a nebulous next year, right?
So it didn't say anything. It's
say
even
anything.
more nebulous.
Okay.
Yeah, it ended and just said nothing.
Okay.
It even had this splash screen, and it didn't say like coming 2025 or 2024.
That is still a as positive as we're feeling about this game now. I could still see a scenario where this game just becomes vaporware, where it's just like
you're asking for pre-orders and collector's editions. I think you're
fair.
pretty far along
At
this point.
fair.
So I think the game is for sure coming out. Just if I had to guess, probably summer of next year.
Yeah.
Cool. So
Right.
yeah,
Thanks for writing in, Will. Appreciate it. That's I hate writing, so I don't think you hate it as much as I do since you wrote a movie and stuff. But
let's move on to our final topic. Let's end this thing.
well, sort of.
Yeah, let's get to the ending.
We're getting close. So Yes, we established our matchups for the final four of the long-running... What episode did we start this? Do you remember?
No,
Okay,
no,
we'll have to
it's
look it up.
September of last year.
The video game Battle Royale.
Almost going on a year. We're never doing a topic like this ever again.
Nah, I warned you with this. I was
Yeah,
like,
you
hey,
did.
just so you know, like this, if we do this many, it's gonna this and this and this and this and this. I don't mind it. I'm having fun. Who cares? Anyway, Zagreus, 2B, Solid Snake, and Dante.
Yes.
We got 2B versus Dante, Solid Snake versus Zagreus. Nick and I are just going to talk it out, come to a general conclusion, some sort of understanding, and then, we'll let you guys vote. And if we need to employ Nick and I's judgment, we will. What do you want to start with?
Let's do Dante and 2B.
Okay.
I think the other one will be a little more. We're not going to decide that one. So
Yeah, that'll be tricky.
but this one, I don't. You're the kind of the interesting one on this one because you're the.
Well, you have very little frame of reference with 2B as a character. I love her. And literally. Nick wants to get me this phone holder that's her basically like palms on the ground, legs spread apart, and I'm like,
It's a joke gift.
It is a joke gift, like chode jeans. But she is a powerhouse. She is, an android. So she comes with the benefits of that, whether it's, if you want to, we don't need to get into the realm of she can re-download her consciousness. That's not playing by the rules of this game, I feel. So we're going to throw that out the window.
Yeah.
She has a large sword, just like Dante, so they're kind of matched up there. I would say Dante's a better wielder of that sword, though. He is a demon, right, that is able to kind of...
the key thing to get through is this demigod status.
Right. Because he, I think in Devil May Cry 3, he can analyze a situation and just do what is needed to be done immediately to disable the threat, right? So he sees a bunch of demons, he sees a bunch of pool balls in the air, he shoots one, they hit each other, and they kill all the demons. He can do that level of shit.
Yeah.
2B is able to dodge anything, right? If you got a fucking tank just going to run you over, but you dodge at the right time, she teleports out of the way. She can get through anything. But I don't think she has the ability to overcome a literal demigod demon man.
Okay.
As much as that pains me, right? They both have the projectile weapons as well. 2B has her pod. Dante has his guns.
Pretty much one of the more even matches as far as just the weapon types.
Yeah, repertoire and how they can fight.
Yeah.
It would be in a big circle arena where they're clashing swords, clack, 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 over all that. I think of the scenarios that Dante's weaseled his way out of, and the scenarios that 2B has weaseled her way out of, and the only way that she can basically kind of get to that level is the re-downloading of her consciousness thing, right? She has the black box technique, which she touch two black boxes, they explode into basically a nuke that could maybe hurt Dante, but like we're disqualifying the consciousness thing, so therefore I think Dante unfortunately would have to win by default, but maybe my voting brethren can save her.
I'm no. I think
I don't mean you. I mean the fans.
Oh yeah. That's true. She does have a fan base.
Oh yeah.
But Dante's got just the experience of multiple titles at this point. Six titles at this point, 5 in the mainline story. So he's experienced, he's practiced, and I don't think anything 2B can do that he hasn't dealt with before, because that series has just always been constantly ratcheting it up. He's fought gigantic things before, so if you bring in her little mech suit, that's nothing that's going to change.
Yeah, I mean she could definitely get in her flight suit.
Yeah,
she could do that.
But I don't think she's got it.
I don't think.
No.
He's just Dante just has like probably his like reflexes and all that stuff is just you can't really touch it. So. Yeah, I mean, if we do need to employ a vote, I think I'd be willing to swallow my love for Dante if we need to get that route. But
okay,
any other thoughts?
No, Dante it is
from
us, but let us know your thoughts.
All right, so Solid Snake versus Zagreus. Now, I'm going to let you take it with this one, but I want to say you had a problem with the last matchup being that Dante was a demigod, and we have the same exact scenario here, so it has to factor in. It has to. So what do you got for Solid Snake?
Boy, it's not easy. It's not easy. I mean, Solid Snake has fought many strange foes. Laughing Octopus, Vamp.
One could argue Vamp is kind of a demigod. Could argue maybe. You shoot him shoot him in the head, it doesn't kill him.
Yeah, well, of course they got to Kojima explain why he's like that, but so he's not an actual vampire. But
what's the reasoning? Tell me. Come on.
Oh, it's I'd have to look it up.
All right.
It's always nanomachines.
Will, write us an email.
Nanomachines, son. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's always nanomachines.
I'm almost positive it's nanomachines. It's something like that.
Is that like a Metal Gear meme? It's always nanomachines, son, or something.
Well, it's from Metal Gear Solid.
Revengeance.
Revengeance. That's what the senator.
Revengeance or whatever it was.
Yeah, that one. The non-canon Metal Gear game, but.
You're stalling.
I mean, what do you want me to say here?
I want you to defend
when you
your
have
character.
characters from different worlds facing against gods. It's hard when one is based.
I want you to kill your babies, Nick. I just had to kill one of my babies. All right.
Solid Snake is not based in it's reality, but not reality because when you get into speaking of MGS3 and the end and stuff, some of these supernatural bosses. Yeah. He's well, then that's not Solid Snake. That's Naked Snake.
Yeah. Okay. It's Big Boss. It's
yeah. Who goes on to be Big Boss? Who trained Solid Snake? Little Metal Gear lore there. Yeah. But so you got MGS 1, 2, and 4 to work with, and the NES games. So. What do you want? Zagreus is a demigod born of Hades.
I want you to say it. I just want you to say it, Nick. That he doesn't win this fight.
And, is, even just taking out his ability he comes back alive. I guess.
I think what it would come to.
I do have it.
Okay.
It came to me.
Okay.
It came to me.
Let's
so
hear
there's going to be spoilers for Hades 1 here, but I need to do it. The problem is. Things don't go well for Zagreus when he's on the surface.
Where's the fight happening?
So if we're in Tartarus, he's fine, right? But he doesn't last long on the surface. So maybe you're talking of war of attrition here. That Solid Snake just has to survive. He just has to survive the encounter, which now we're talking a time limit. And here we go. I got my window.
That is a very good poll. We can't retroactively do anything. I would say then there should be absolutely no way Zagreus has made it this far if the fights were not taking place in Tartarus. Hades isn't letting him out. He's not letting him out to go do the fight. So the fight has to be done in Tartarus. They have to let him in.
No.
They're not going to let him go.
Changing venues.
No, that's a very good video game reason to pull in that if the fight did take place, because even by the end of that game, after you've rolled credits and everything, you still don't have a solution to that. She comes down,
right?
So that's a good one. That's a good one. I'm just gonna say
got there.
Yeah. If it comes down to let's just say the fight can happen. If a fight actually happens, because in this scenario there's no fight. But if a fight happens,
he can be on the surface for a couple minutes. You can have a conversation.
Well, just long enough for Snake to have one cigarette. Zagreus is faster. He's stronger. He's got more weapons. He's got the fight. If the fight happens, Snake doesn't have a prayer. But I guess in this scenario, if the voters choose the location of the battle, then I can't really argue with that if he made it through.
Yeah, so you're in our little discussion here, just determining could Solid Snake hold out the minutes it would take for him to have to return.
That's also a very fair point. I would argue that no, he couldn't. I would argue the fight. I would personally argue the fight would be over in about 3 seconds. I am not being an asshole right now. He would literally take his sword, dash at him, and stab him through the throat. That's what would happen. So, in that regard, maybe he doesn't last long enough.
Again, video game worlds are funny because Solid Snake has dodged missiles and other things that are moving at incredible speeds. So, and motorcycles. Whatever.
I'm just saying.
We're not going to agree.
I know.
We're going to be at a standstill on this one.
But we need to make sure that all the facts.
But I had to get at least one valid reason. So there's a chance.
I'm impressed. Right? You pulled that off at the fucking nick of time. The nick of time.
I think
who the finals is.
What's that?
I was going to say, now it's up to them. Show us who the finals are.
Yeah, so we're going to be split on that one. But it's fun.
God, I forgoed to be. Your love for Solid Snake is so strong as a character that you can't admit.
I've lost a lot of characters that I like in this.
You didn't lose Kratos. I lost Kratos.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of blood has been shed. So I'm just saying.
Who was at the start of this thing? Geralt? Who was your number one? I
lost Geralt. I lost V. We lost Arthur Morgan. Yeah.
Okay.
It's been a bloody battle.
Yeah. Well, that'll happen when there can only be one. We forgot Highlanders in this tournament too. There could only be one.
Well, eventually there will only be one, and that'll be decided next week.
Woo!
We'll talk about the last matchup.
Yeah. Podcast 103 will be the finale.
Yeah, and we can finally move on.
And then we're gonna be like, "What do we talk about? We need topics." And then I have to formulate another bullshit one of these.
Well, lately there has not been an issue, and I'm not just saying because E3 is here. It's been this podcast, despite lessening the things, has extended the length of its average runtime. So, all right,
thanks.
All right, do we have anything to tease? I think it's quiet.
Yeah, I mean, Shadow of the Erdtree, hopefully. I did buy Bang On Balls Chronicles for my son. Sorry, I said that jokingly. I did get an 86 on OpenCritic.
Yeah, bring it.
Yeah, I mean, I bought that just because it was on sale for $9, and I wanted him to play it. He saw it, and he goes, "Oh, cool, I'll play this game." And he goes, "No, I don't want to play this game. I want to play Roblox." And I got real mad at him, and then I did the same method that I employ with my wife, where I just turned it on when he was in the vicinity. And I was like, "I'm playing this." "No, I want to play Roblox." "No, I'm playing this." And then he watches me do it, and he goes, "Oh, you can slam? Oh, you can pick up that?" And then I go upstairs. I give him the control, and I go upstairs and make him like a sandwich or something, and I just hear, "Oh, that's so cool." I was like, "You just listen to your dad." So no, I don't know. I don't think I will ever pick that up for myself. It is very geared towards like probably 10-year-old kids, and that's fine. It doesn't mean it makes a bad video game.
The perspective you bring to the show, right?
Yeah, but no, I'll be focusing on Elden Ring. But
yeah, I'm curious how far you'll get.
Yeah. We'll see.
Not because of your time thing, just because of the difficulty. Like you're going to be hearing me like, "Oh, this guy and this guy," and
maybe I'll prove my worth to you.
Yeah.
If I can beat,
I should record how many deaths it takes.
If I can beat it, if I can beat the DLC by July 1st, will you play Elden Ring?
No.
Okay. All right. I'm just going to tell
a week.
Yeah.
No way.
All right. Wow. You won't even make the bed, coward. Scared in video game world and in real life, folks.
I mean, if you're excited for Black Myth Wukong, I'd try to finish this game by then. And that's 2 months.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
But I think a lot of the show will be topics, and because it's just that season now. I mean, we'll have the build up to Gamescom, and then when Gamescom comes, it'll be release. And then
so when Astrobot comes out, we're gonna have one last topic dedicated to every cameo at least once.
Yeah,
150
cameo.
weeks. 150.
Yeah.
No, not our favorite. Just this week we're talking about Cat from Gravity Rush.
Yeah. But it's good. Gaming's good. Everything's good.
Is our podcast good? Did this one crash on us too? Are we still good?
Yeah, so far so good.
Okay.
We cross our fingers when it's done.
I'm not re-recording, just so you know.
Okay. No,
at least not right into a second.
You gotta stay.
Okay.
All right. So the song we're ending it on, if you hear this song, you know you're there. You're at Shadow of the Erdtree. Because this is the song that plays when you play, or you fight against Mog, the Lord of Blood. And this is from Elden Ring, of course, by Shoei Miyazawa. And what is Mog? Is he the wolf creature looking thing?
No, he's like a big cloaked dude with like he's got like a trident spear and like snake heads. I don't know. Like,
yeah. I remember him now.
I gotta say, I hate his name, Mog. Like I just feel like he could have had a better name.
Hey, do you know how many Elden Ring or Soulsborne bosses there are that they've had to name?
It's true.
By just reaching.
Hey. Just go talk to the guys over at Pokemon. They'll figure something out for you.
When they just put random letters together and like, oh, that makes a word. So, yep.
Q.
All right, so enjoy the song. Enjoy Shadow of the Erdtree. You know, if you want to write in with your thoughts of it, is it too hard? Is it broken? Is performance issues? You know, let us know. You know, I like the hands-on, you know, more practical people writing in and saying honest thoughts, not bitching on an internet forum. So,
Right.
I want to hear from you. BetweenTheJoysticks@gmail.com. Also, review us. Whatever platform you're on, you know, give us your thoughts there. And
I've heard it helps with the algorithms.
yeah, get us some more views. We appreciate it. But as always, we thank you for just listening to the podcast. Again, we will be back next week with Up to 6 Things. Bye.
Toodaloo.